In the silence of the night they stand tall, messengers of light with no fear at all. With a whisper from the heavens they'll call, rise and declare, let the darkness fall.
I was standing in the shadows, eyes open but still blind. I knew the words of Isaiah, but the truth stayed undefined. Who measures all the waters, who holds the mountains in his hand, who needs no counsel from another, who alone can understand. Then the veil began to tremble, and the ancient words grew bright. The one who spoke creation was standing in the light. This is the awakening, Yahshua is Yah revealed, the Holy One of Israel, in flesh and blood made real, the shepherd and the sovereign, the arm of Yahweh come. This is the awakening, Yahshua is the mighty one. I heard the prophet thunder, behold your Elohim, the one who feeds the helpless, who gathers broken men, the one whose breath brings a withering, whose word forever stands. And suddenly I saw him with nail-scarred risen hands. No other could fulfill it, no second voice, no throne. The glory of the Father revealed in him alone. This is the awakening, Yahshua is Yahweh revealed, the Holy One of Israel, in flesh and blood made real, the shepherd and the sovereign, the arm of Yahweh come. This is the awakening, Yahshua is the mighty the breath of Yahweh, who showed him truth or light, who formed his understanding, who guided him aright. No one stands beside him, no counsel makes him wise, and Yahshua bears that glory right before our eyes. This is the awakening, Yahshua is Yahweh revealed, the Holy One of Israel, in flesh and blood made real, the shepherd and the sovereign, the arm of Yahweh come. This is the awakening, Yahshua is the mighty one. Yahshua is Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, awakening. Yahshua is the mighty one.
Shalom, shalom, everybody. Teddy Wilson once again with Seekers of Yahweh Ministry, and welcome to another Friday Night Live, where we are attempting to restore the Hebrew mind of Yahweh's people. Thank you for joining us this evening. We're going to be having a very fruitful study this evening. We're going to be studying the topic from a Hebrew perspective. Be fruitful and multiply. What does that look like? We've heard this terminology and heard this verse quoted and taught on so many times, but what is being said there is much more than the English could ever convey. As we're going to see, and we dive into the Hebrew in this, there are 5 separate instructions in that one verse, not the passage, but in the one verse. 5 different instructions, which you can see it if somebody has caught that revelation, but it needs to be pointed out to many of us. Join us live tomorrow for our Sabbath services. We do plan at this time, Yahweh willing, to be live for our Shabbat, where we're going to be talking about the dwelling place. What is that? That Yahweh dwelleth not in a temple made with hands and all these things. What does that actually mean? What is Yahweh's dwelling place? Does the human body replace Yahweh's dwelling place as in places of worship? That's a church doctrine that we have inherited, and I would suggest to you that is not what the scriptures teach at all. So we're going to be going over that tomorrow, and in so doing, we're going to be making some connections to this Greek word, or the Greek phrase actually used for it. What we don't use the term Adonai. We don't like that verbiage. We go with the Hebrew here, but in the Masoretic text where it speaks about Adonai Yahweh, YHWH, in the Masoretic text, that has been translated into Kiri in the Greek text. So we're going to be going over that and see how this is relevant to Yahweh's dwelling place. Because Yahweh would dwell in the tents of Shem, per the book of Bereshit or Genesis. So we need to understand that it, and Shem, of course, meaning name in the English language. So we want to make those connections tomorrow. We're going to be focusing on that. So please join us live tomorrow at noon Pacific. If you're not already on the mailing list, please go to the contact information that was posted here at the beginning of the broadcast in the song, and let us know. We'll get you put on that email list. That'll keep you in the loop of where we're going, what we're doing, all of the upcoming events, and all these live events will be sent directly. The links will be sent directly to your email address. If you would like to have that happening, please go ahead and contact us, and we'll make sure it happens for you. All right, so again, topic this evening, be fruitful and multiply. What does it mean to be fruitful and multiply, Hebraically speaking? How many times have we read or quoted this verse, and have we ever truly understood its complete context? Because as I said before, there are 5 different instructions in the Hebrew text given in that one verse. Yahweh told everybody, be fruitful and multiply. We couldn't even do that. That was basically the first instruction that you're going to see in the book of Bereshit, and we did not fulfill that. We have always had a problem fulfilling Yahweh's desire. And normally it came from hearing things from other entities, other so you can understand other spirits speaking. What was breathed by other individuals, if you will, that has caused us to stray from the path. That's why Hebrew origins are one of the most important things in our day and age. Now, even more that we see the day of Yahshua, Yahweh's redemption approaching. Because at some point during this 1,000-year millennial reign, Yahweh's redemptive process is going to stop. Yahshua's whole plan is going to be fulfilled. The fulfilling of Yahweh's redemption is going to be completed, and everything's going to be handed over to the original pattern that Yahweh has given us. That original pattern will be etched. It will be finished by the end of the 1,000-year reign. So we need to come to a better understanding as to, what's actually being conveyed in the Hebrew scriptures, because we have so many English translations. I watched a video today. Oh boy, I just couldn't believe it. But anyway, we'll address that at a later time. So again, be fruitful and multiply. Get your pens, pencils, highlighters. We're going to be doing several Hebrew word studies. So please get all of your research material, Strong's Concordance, Ancient Hebrew Lexicon, if you want to follow along. And let's go ahead and get prayed in, and we'll get right to it. Father, we are so thankful as some have already entered into your Shabbat, and we're awaiting it here. As we enter into this Sabbath day, we want to lift up our hearts and our minds and our very soul to you, and ask that you would open up our understandings and help us to gain clarity concerning your will, your ways, and what you have actually spoken through Moshe, the prophets, the kings, Shoftim, judges, oh Father, and through your apostles, and through the only one that you brought forth into this world, most importantly. Thank you so very much for the blood of the covenant. And we just ask that you would lead us and guide us this evening. Bless all of those who are in need, Father. Pray that you would meet the prayers that have all came in this week from the brethren. Please meet their needs. According to your will, according to your desire, we ask and pray these things, all in the name of your redemption, Yahshua. Hallelujah and amen, amen. All right. So man was created for this specific reason, but it goes beyond that. To bear fruit and multiply was only the beginning. Man was created to do a lot of things that we didn't accomplish in the Garden of Eden, and therefore after. We're going to be looking at that. As I said before, 5 different instructions were given in that one verse. And we always cling to be fruitful and multiply. We always want to throw that out there, but there's a lot more being said in this passage. So let's go ahead and turn to Bereshit, or Genesis chapter 1. We'll be reading verses 27 and 28. Bereshit, Genesis chapter 1, verses 27 and 28. And Yahweh created the man in his image. In the image of Yahweh, he created him. Now, that word man should be mankind, because there is a them explained in the text here in this verse. Again, let's read that. And Yahweh created the man, and it should just read mankind, in his image. In the image of Yahweh, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And Yahweh blessed them. And when we go to the Hebrew text, it's going to be very important. Because the Hebrew text begins with Baruch or Barachot. Okay, so this is very important. I'm going to be pulling up the ancient Hebrew Torah without the prefixes and suffixes to drive this home this evening, to show once again how important it is to understand this from the ancient Hebrew roots. A lot of these, like the word Elohim, it doesn't even begin in Genesis 1:1. We have plenty of evidence throughout time that even the Targum stipulates that the tetragrammaton was used there originally. So anyway, going into verse 28 once again, in the English text it says, and Yahweh blessed them, and Yahweh said to them, bear fruit. Let's read right through this. Bear fruit and increase. That's where we see be fruitful and multiply in many of your translations. And fill the earth and subdue it and rule over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over the creatures moving on the earth. Wow, we have left out, theologically left out so many things that Yahweh said right then. And when we do that, when we are taught to only remember the be fruitful and multiply part, it's great. We do want to be fruitful and we do want to advance. We do want to increase. Okay, but we need to define that, because if you are an individual, what does that mean to increase? Hebraically speaking, this means that you have more than one. If you only plant one seed, that means that you've only done what Yahweh did with Hawa and took her from the side of Adam. That's not bearing fruit. What would bear fruit would then the individuals who are born after that. So you would need to plant and hatch 2 seed at a minimum in order for there to be increase. Do you understand? This is so very important, because many people don't understand. We are obligated to bear this fruit and increase on the earth, so that the seed, and the seed must be in the image of Yahweh, not you and I. This is very, very important to understand. So let's read through the English there one more time. Let me point some things out in verse 28. And Yahweh blessed them, and Yahweh said to them, bear fruit, 1, increase, 2, fill the earth, 3, subdue it, 4, and rule over all of creation. Many of you are seeing have dominion, so the teaching is gone completely. So when we look this up in Hebrew, and as I'm going to show you, that there was some headship established here, and that headship in the garden was said to do all of these things. Are you following me? This is where Yahweh ordained headship and gave rule. See, this is where all the right rulings and everything must be. Guess what happened when Adam and Hawa partook of the fruit? Right rulings were not followed. They were broken. That meant that this was no longer Yahweh's house, because the ones who he gave dominion over it broke the rule. They were supposed to rightly rule the situation and tell that thing to shut its mouth, rebuke it, correct it, and send it away, just as Yahshua did. Yahweh in Yahshua rebuked him when he was tempted and tried and was taken above on the wall of the pinnacle. He is the one that had to reestablish the rule. Get it? Oh, woo. We have been given that same authority to rebuke, correct, teach, lead, guide, and help people cleanse themselves from the sin of Adam and Hawa. This is how Yisrael, how we rule with El, how we rule with Yah Almighty. If we're not doing those things, we're not ruling. We're just existing over everything on the earth. 5 things were instructed right then and appointed to the headship that was, and that fell. We're going to see that rightly ruling all of these things that Yahweh has put us, made in subjection to us, is the reason why, in my assumption, this is me speaking, that might be why he hasn't come back yet. They haven't fulfilled this. When we step up in the body of Yahshua and we begin to evangelize, get people baptized, cleansed, teach them Torah and everything else, forget about your pet peeve doctrines, to get them cleansed, to get them to turn back to Shabbat, keeping the feast, eating clean foods, that's just the beginning. We are then to rightly rule everything. We use Yahweh's words to create a body of people that are acceptable, right? It's the headship's obligation to do that, to enforce the rules of the one who we serve and his nation. Get it? So here we see that there are actually 5 different instructions given in that one verse. Bear fruit, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, and then rule over all creation. We couldn't even get past the first step here. Shortly into the game. Now, so I also want to point out some different sections of what we're supposed to be doing. So from Eden, right? From that holy place, if you will, we are supposed to bear fruit in the image of Yahweh, cause it to multiply beyond what you already are, just your individual self. That would mean that each individual in the headship is obligated to appoint others to bring at least 3, right? That would be multiplying. Who are cleansed, appointed, trained. They know the right rulings. This is not a hard task, you guys. This is very simple. But the problem is with our Christology theories still embedded in us, we think that Yahweh's going to do all of that. Where's the headship that he appointed and reestablished through the apostles? We have a much bigger job than just mentioning the Sabbath. We have a much bigger job than just suggesting to people that they take a look at it. Oh, we'll just pray for them. That's not what the book teaches. Go ye, teach them, baptize them, bring them into my nation. That's what an ambassador does. So now let's go to the Hebrew text and let's start pulling up some of these Hebrew words. Let me clear my panel here. Here we go. All right, so you guys should be seeing the Hebrew text here. And there you see Bereshit, Genesis chapter 1. You have the modern Hebrew Masoretic text over here, transliteration of the words in the middle. And over here we have a sacred name, King Jimmy, to the right. So we're looking down at verse 27 and 28. And it says, Yahweh created man in his own image. In the image of Yahweh created he him, male and female he created he them. Look at this. And Elohim blessed. Look at this. That's not the way the Hebrew text. Please understand, I'm pointing these things out because the translators have not been real accurate in many instances. The very first word in the Hebrew text is Barak. Baruch, in the plural, barakot, blessings. Having pointed that out, we see here, and Yahweh blessed them, and Yahweh said unto them, be fruitful. Look at this. This is the word bara. We're going to come back to several of these key words, and we're going to do an ancient Hebrew word study on them, but I want to point out all of these words first. So this is the Hebrew word para, and in the Strong's Concordance, it just means to bear fruit, literally or figuratively. But we're going to see that it goes way beyond that. And then we see and multiply. There's the second one, which is rabbah, and it actually means to increase, not multiply. And there's a difference there, as we're going to see. Increase, not multiply, but increase. This is where the Hebrew begins to influence what we should be reading in the English text. It's an increase. It means to bear more seed than just one. You see what I mean? There must be increase. And we see this in the parable of the talents. This same concept is spoken again by Yahshua in a parable concerning the talents. He said, I want increase. He gave him back what he had, and he said, this is wicked. Understand? So from a Hebrew perspective, this is much deeper than the English text is brought across to us. And then many of you are seeing that word replenish, which has led to so many false doctrines. It's insane. But nevertheless, fill the earth in many translations. Here it says, and replenish. But there you see, it is the Hebrew word malay, and it means to fill or be full. And there we see haaretz, the earth. Do you understand what that just said? Look, where were they starting at? In the garden. The headship was appointed in the garden. There's the holy place right there. The tree in the midst of the tree of life, that's in the holy of holies, if you will. That's where everybody goes only in through Yahshua at this point. But please understand what they had access to before the original sin of Adam and Hawa. They had access. So the holy place, now all of these seeds that would be multiplied, it's such a multiplication that it went beyond the Garden of Eden, the holy place, and into the whole world. This is his plan. And we were the ones, those who are appointed to headship, given dominion, rule, those who rule with Yahweh on the earth as his ambassadors. If we do what he tells us to do, that plan will be fulfilled, and it will be in the end, because Yahweh didn't scrap everything and start over. That word replenish has led to many false doctrines, and I'm not going to get into those right now. However, continuing on, and subdue it. Subdue means to tread. Now, you'll notice it says hence negatively. There's more negative connotations to this word in modern Hebrew than there are positive connotations. So this isn't being used in a negative sense. So just to tread, not subdue it, but to tread, move about on it, go around, evangelize, if you will. Right? When all this seed starts happening, remember to lead them, to guide them, to nourish them, bring them to the tree, get them fed. Get it? Subdue it and have dominion. This is the Hebrew word bradah. You guys hear me speak of this word often. But in the ancient Hebrew, we're going to see that this instruction here actually holds the key to every single instruction given before it in this verse. Over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. See, there is the goal, that everything on the earth will have been led by the right ruling, by the instructions. And if we do that, then there will be fruit, and the earth will be subdued or treaded upon by everybody that has the truth. Oh, Father. Now, again, let's get all these matters set in order. Headship was appointed here, and they were appointed to rule in a way that would cause many seed, many factions of life to spread across the whole earth. And there we see the pattern of the Mishkan and the temple. It starts here. This is where the headship is. This is where everything is instructed, where the revelation is, how to live life, how to keep yourself cleansed. All of those things begin in the headship. And then it will be taught to all of those who are bear seed after like kind. And I would suggest that this really isn't talking about food at all. I know that many doctrines say that we have so many doctrines about, well, fruit that bears fruit of its, okay. But when Moshe caught the revelation from Yahweh himself, it really wasn't necessarily about food. These were idiomatic expressions that had begun to, over time, to be taken literally. But if you had an agrobiological mind, the original Hebrew mind, in the beginning, you would never misunderstand it. That's why there's so many things that are misunderstood in the English Bible. I want to take a look at this word fruitful. Remember, that was the Hebrew word para. It's Strong's Hebrew number 6509. And again, it just said to bear fruit. Well, let's go to the ancient Hebrew lexicon. I'll get that pulled up and screen shared with you. All right. Now, in the ancient Hebrew lexicon, that's going to be number 1388 HV, and it's going to be on page 226. And there you're going to see pei resh hey. And here it is here. Pei resh hey. And you'll see that it just says fruitful. And then at the top of that, in this 3-letter root, not a whole bunch of information, just fruit, to be fruitful. But what I want to point out here, you guys, is, and this is why I say idiomatic expressions being translated literally is a problem. We're going to be going over that probably tomorrow when we touch on some of these things that I was speaking about when we opened up this evening. Pei resh hey. So it's got something to do with something that comes forth from the mouth, like words, speaking, wind, blowing, scattering, right? So really, if you look at this fruit, be fruitful, means not only that did something come forth from your body or something come forth from a woman's womb, but that whatever was produced would understand the words of the head of all revelation. The words that are breathed, the words that come forth from the mouth. It's a picture of a mouth of Yahweh. I would suggest that this includes the right rulings, to rightly rule everything. If everybody knew the right rulings from their youngest days of life and forward, then there would be no rules broken. And that is why the body of Yahshua is in such a disarray right now, because we have lost contact with these agrobiological linguistics and what was actually said. We want to cling to pet peeve doctrines rather than research this language back to its original form and get back to the original doctrines. It's a great injustice. So here, once again, we see fruitful. Let's go to the top of that root line, which is going to be number 1388. And let's look at this. So the two-letter root is Peresh. Look at the action root, to tread. How do you do that? With words. When they're commanded to subdue or tread out the earth, it means that Yahweh's words were spoken on it, and everybody was taught to keep themselves in line with it. What was spoken or breathed, the words that come from the head of all things, the head of all creation, right? And then you see concretely this two-letter root goes back to the concept of a bull. Many of you might say, well, what has a bull got to do with it? What has treading got to do with it? Because this is how the produce used to come forth. The increase came forth from the seeds. They were put out on the threshing floor, and the bull would walk and tread on them and crack them open, and then they were sifted, and then all of the wheat was put in the storehouses. Get it? Oh, let's look at the definition here. The pictograph pei is a picture of an open mouth, and the resh is a picture of a head. Combined, these mean open the head. The heads of grain are scattered on the threshing floor, a smooth, hard, and level surface. An ox is led around the floor, crushing the heads, opening them to reveal the seed inside. Also, the fruit of trees that is harvested. So this is both for the first and second harvests. But the first is going to be last is going to be first, and the first is going to be last, because Yahshua is coming back during the harvest of the fruit. Get it? Be fruitful and multiply. Oh, Father. Now, okay. Now, let's take a look at this word that they translated as replenish or fill. Once again, that's Strong's Hebrew number 4390, Malay. The Strong's defines that as to fill or to be full. To fill or to be full. In the Ancient Hebrew Lexicon, it's going to be number 1288 EV, 1288 EV on page 169. Mem Lamed Aleph. Malay. I'll get this pulled up, and that's going to again be on page 169 in the book. Oops. Here we go. Again, that's Ancient Hebrew Lexicon number 1288 EV on page 169. And here is our word. Mem Lamed Aleph. Now, let's point something out. It means to fill. But notice that it has the mem in it and the lamed. Again, these are the instructions that were given to the headship. And look at the letters. This is how we keep each other cleansed, the seeds cleansed once, or the like when the chicken flies out of the egg, so to speak. We teach it from that point forward, all how to keep itself clean. It's taught. It's led to the tree of life. That's all they had. There was no other DNA in Yahweh's makeup. Do you understand? That only came through receiving another seed, other words that were breathed to Hawa. She accepted them. She received another seed, and that killed her. So we see it has to do with cleansing, to fill, something to be filled. Fill the earth. Cleanse it. Lead it. Strengthen it. That's what those three letters mean. Fill the world with goodness, with the goodness of Yah. This is kind of the what we're seeing there. And then look at this up here in the three-letter root. Look at that. Action root is to fill concretely first fruits. Are you kidding me? Adam and Hawa were given the job to plant the first fruits, and the first fruits would bear seed, and the other ones would bear seed, and they would all be taught how to keep themselves clean, and that they'd be led to the strength, or everything that strengthened them, which stemmed forth from what we call the tree of life. The right rulings were already embedded in them. They wouldn't have known evil. They didn't have a choice. That free choice thing, we'll get into that at a later time. That's another Christian concept that we've all inherited. Mankind was programmed to do what Yahweh said to do. They did not know the difference between good and evil. So therefore, how could they choose good or evil? Come on now. So a conglomeration of ingredients for filling up something. Do you understand what that just said? Remember, I told you that there's all of these things, these 5 different incorporated instructions. This is what the ingredients are for what? Filling up the earth with Yahweh's designed fruit. Fruit that was designed and had the image of Yahweh. Wow. Subdue. Let's look at this word. Strong's Hebrew number 3533. That's going to be the word kabash. And again, tread is the only positive connotation that was used in the Strong's Concordance. And there are many negative senses that are not applicable to the context where we found this word. So in the ancient Hebrew lexicon, it's going to be number 2551V. 2551V on page 352. And that's going to be Kap Bet Shin, Kabash. Again on page 352. There we are. 2551V on page 352. There's a lot said here. Cap, bet, shin, kabosh. Now, so we see the word subdue, but this is not in a warlike manner. Subdue, meaning take into possession. This is speaking specifically to the headship that is appointed over Yah's creation. That will never change. Not everybody has this knowledge. The New Testament teaches you that. Howbeit there is not in every man this knowledge. So subdue, to bring into your possession. You see that cap and the bet and the shin. Look at the definition there. To place the foot on the land in the sense of subduing it. Everywhere where Abraham's foot, he appointed him into the headship of the Melchizedek order. Then everywhere where his foot landed, where he gave testimony of Yahweh, became an inheritance of Israel. See it? Oh, Father. See, we have gone so far into Greek Western thinking, we cannot teach the truth about what the headship is that was appointed by Yahweh is to do. Not was supposed to do and failed. He will keep making us try until we get it right. To place the foot on the land in the sense of subduing it, also to place one's foot into another nation in the sense of subduing it. So whenever mankind lost the rule on the earth and gave that rule to the enemy, what has been Yahweh's goal? To lift up a headship that would teach the world otherwise. How to cleanse itself from death. What to do to live again. And it cannot, as we're going to see, it cannot be separate from right ruling. It's impossible. It's impossible. You'll notice there, the cap is the picture of an open palm. Could mean open, but also can mean offering. The house, the family, and pressing the family towards something. That means subdue, really meaning something more than a hostile takeover. It means to bring into your possession all of the earth in teaching the word and everything else we just discussed in the original instructions in that one verse. Then we have dominion. Many of you are reading. Rule in the scriptures. We're going to go right to the ancient Hebrew here because dominion is not the correct word. And I would suggest that rule is a bit watered down as well. So this word rule in the ancient Hebrew lexicon is going to be number 1441 HV on page 257. Again, that's going to be 1441 HV on page 257. And here you see our word, Radah. Resh Dalit Hey. Rule. Up here at the top of its three-letter root, let's look at that definition before we go to the ancient Hebrew Torah, and I point something out. The action root is to rule concretely. He has questions there. We're going to answer those here in a moment. A ruler is one who walks among the people. There you go. There's the evangelism part. In the sense of spreading out rather than rule on the throne alone. What? So the original headship was to make sure that all the seed that was spreading on the earth, they were to go out and rightly rule and bring all of the common knowledge and wisdom of where you get fed, Yahweh's word, the tree of life, if you will. We were so everything would have been in the image of Yah, seed bearing seed after its like kind. So you'll see, again, my point is that isn't always talking about foods like a lemon or an apple, which it does hold that rule, but I'm saying many times, because Yahweh speaks to us in agrobiological linguistics, we take things literally that were meant to give us instruction on not our diet, but on what to ingest, how to be instructed, how to be led and guided to the tree of life. Only righteousness dwells in the original plan that Yahweh gave us. 5 different instructions there. As we're going to see, this one is, without this one, none of it, without the right rulings, none of it can happen. None of it. I'm going to take you to the ancient Hebrew Torah. The ancient Hebrew Torah that I have is of course in hieroglyphics, and it shows all of the roots of all of the words that are in the Masoretic text with the corrections that need to be put in there. Jeff Benner has done a great job on that. I thank him for creating this program for me, and I'm going to go ahead and pull that up, and I'm going to show you the ancient Hebrew text of Genesis chapter 1 and at verse 28. All right. So, '28. There we see Baruch et Elohim Amar Elohim Para Rabbah Malah et Aretz Kabash, and look, Radah. All of those, see, and it's so easy to see in the ancient Hebrew, all of those prior 4 stipulations, look at this, all evolve around this word Radah. It's more than rule. Do you understand that headship was instructed? The headship was instructed to bring everybody to the door. That's another form of the Dalit, to the door of revelation. Do you understand that the headship is supposed to be ingrained with the knowledge and the wisdom that would lead them back to the garden? Not only that, giving them access to the Holy of Holies, where the tree of life that nurtures all things is at. This is why, you guys, This is why there is so much division in the assemblies, because many people are unwilling to learn this ancient Hebrew alphabet in which Moshe would have written the Torah. If indeed these definitions that we see in the ancient Hebrew lexicon are not the definitions you are teaching with your English words from your English Bible, you have not planted the same seed. This is problematic, my friends. That is problematic. We need to dig into this. The headship rule, meaning that the headship would put in the head of other people and lead them to the door of revelation, the door where we would behold this place where we get our nourishment. It's leading them back in the direction to the original tree of life. You notice in the book of Revelation confirms everything I'm saying, that they would have the right, is what we read in the English, to the tree of life. Going back up the mountain, if you will, that is the key of understanding. We cannot, if we don't know the right rulings and we don't know what to say to people, or refuse to tell people how to cleanse themselves, are we being ambassadors that are going to bring people, produce seed in the image of Yahweh and give them access back to the tree of life? This shows us that the headship appointed by Yahweh is put in place as headship that opens the door of revelation. Rightly ruling, using Yahweh's words alone. I would suggest that we get more in tune and in line with what Yahweh said to Moshe, rather than what the translators say he said. And in this case, when we found this word in Bereshit, to rule over means to guide, feed, lead all things on the earth. How can you do that just sitting behind a computer? How can you do that just sitting every Shabbat on the couch resting? How can you do it? Wake up, everybody. Wake up from your slumber. Yahweh has appointed us to teach the world, to give our testimony as to what needs to be done to partake of the tree of life once again. That's not a freebie. Hallelujah. So I wanted to spearhead this for tomorrow's teaching. I know it's a little bit shorter than normal, but we have guests arriving here, and I have a few more things I need to get done outside. We have family coming in from Missouri, going to be here keeping Shabbat with us. And so once again, showing us exactly how important it is to get more familiar with these ancient Hebrew definitions. This can open up a whole nother realm. 5 instructions, all hinging on one. Remember that dalit was in that last word, radah, the dalit. What does a door do? Does it hover over the ground? No. But a door opens and closes, correct? Opens and closes. Yahshua tells us that he opens, no man closes. Get it? Shuts, no man opens. That the revelation only comes by the words that he confirmed that Yahweh had spoke throughout the Tanakh, and the same judgment is going to befall everybody that continues to lead in the ways of this wicked seed, this deception. And I, for one, believe with all of my heart that the ancient Hebrew text and ancient Hebrew alphabet is worth studying. It's going to help spearhead your direction back into having access to the tree of life. Amen. So if there's any questions or comments, I'm going to be going over to the YouTube chat section real quick. Check that out. Those of you that are watching in the recorded version, our contact information was provided during the song at the opening of the broadcast. And again, join us live tomorrow for our Sabbath service here at Seekers of Yahweh in Craigmont, Idaho. Brother Daniel, Sister Mary, good to see you guys. Shabbat Shalom to everybody. Brother Rich, Sister Joni, Joshua, been praying for you, you and your family. Kenny and Crystal, Brother Gary, JR, Charlie and Deanne, Melchizedek, we see you chimed in. Sister Pamela, out there in Michigan, good to see you tuned in. Anna Lee, we love you. Innate ways. And stay away from Jews' traditions. I don't know what that means. So just as a innate ways, let me ask you this: what's the difference between a Jewish tradition and a Christian tradition in Yahweh's eyes? You probably need to check yourself. Let me ask you this: what is the difference between a custom and a tradition? If you're still watching, type those answers in here and we can further this conversation. If you can't, then please don't try to stir up strife during our program. Brother Walter, Sister Jamie, good to see you guys tuned in. Shabbat Shalom. Brother Ron, good to see you tuned in. Innate ways, I'm waiting. I'm just a couple of minutes because I got to go, but yeah, I would like to hear your answers to that. Matter of fact, innate ways, whoever you are. Yeah, I don't forget any of that command, but I would like chapter and verse to begin with. And we can further this discussion on one-on-one instead of here on a platform where nobody wants to hear any arguing. So get a hold of me. You got the phone number, give me a call. It's not Shabbat here. And if there's something you would care to debate, we're always open for that. We have a platform specifically for debate. I'm still getting crickets from you, though. Nothing. Hot Iron Forge, good to see you tuned in. Shabbat Shalom to you. All right. Yeah, that's what we thought. Just crickets. Anyway, all of you have a blessed Shabbat that have already entered into it. Those of you that are about to, we pray that you have a blessed Sabbath as well. And we're looking forward to seeing all of you tomorrow during our Sabbath service live. And may Yahweh bless and keep each and every one of you. Shabbat Shalom.